Hi, I'm Michael Newrock and welcome to the market analysis for September 18, 2017. This is using the trend Profiteer system. I'm just going to go through these charts fairly briefly today, starting off with something new, Bitcoin. Bitcoin is an amazing case study in an asset class, and just in the last 2 weeks, well, it hit its high of around for just over $4,900 per Bitcoin. In the last 2 weeks, it has plummeted to, well, it plummeted to just under $3,000 per Bitcoin. So that's over around 40% of its value crashed in around 2 weeks. So looking at the weekly chart, gives us a bit of an idea. It started, well, it was much lower than this, but you can see here around $270 per Bitcoin up to 5,000. Whatever you think about this digital currency, it is in an extreme weekly upward trend. So it's interesting to see what's going to happen next. I'm seeing comments and valuations from everything that it'll go to $25,000 per Bitcoin and beyond. It can crash to zero or very little. On the daily chart, it is in a new trend trade to the downside. Now, none of the signals are coming up at this stage because the moves are so extreme, hundreds of dollars in the crossover, for example, and that's on the 4-hour. So on the 4-hour, you can see here that it is moving solidly up. So if I didn't know this was Bitcoin, I guess what I'm trying to use this as an example of when you get good at using trend Profiteer, and it's pretty easy to do pretty quickly. You can start looking at trading pretty much anything, and at the end of the day, it's all about the setup. So in this case, on the 4-hour, using much smaller lot sizes than you would normally use because of the huge movements. This one, if there's a crossover here, well, it could definitely go to a conservative 4 out of 6 high time frames pointing up, and there's some point of references here with some all-time highs. So no doubt the optimistic bulls in the market for Bitcoin will be eyeing these levels off and look at this as a potential opportunity to get in at a much reduced rate as compared to the high anyway. All right, moving on. Gold tells a different story, and it's kind of weird because 1,315 for gold as opposed to currently just under 3,900 for Bitcoin. And lately I've been watching gold kind of shows, and these miners go to a huge amount of work to uncover and to mine gold, and for an ounce being around a teaspoon. So anyway, gold 4-hour down, but I really, well, it could certainly move that way, but if you look at the daily, it tells a different story, and we're very much primed for a daily upswing, and if that happens, then we could see some movement in the market. So daily and weekly are looking pretty positive. Particularly the daily is a lot more cleaner in terms of the direction. So we've got MACD above the zero line. If we have a swing up today, then it could be an opportunity to look for a buy trade, obviously with the market changing to at least bidirectional. But that's probably what I'd be more interested in going long than going short at this stage because of the strength of the daily and the weekly timeframes. Euro has been just meandering for the last couple of days, last few days actually. But like gold, if we look at the daily time frame, and you can see the daily trend is up, you can see that there's been a lot of movement to the upside from April of this year right to now. So it's more of a case of looking for opportunities to buy into. So this is an interesting one because you can see here this trend trade occurred here, and the next bar just collapsed. And if you had your stop around here, you may have very well been taken out. So that's unfortunate, but it does happen. And what we're looking at now, though, is a possibility of a swing to the upside. I would want to see a decent move up to around here. So you have the green histogram protruding over that signal bar. We want to see a nice movement up. And if that's the case, then let's say, just hypothetical, if it swung up to around here, the stop would be around 40, but you're looking at around 120 for the high. That's if it gets past these recent highs as well. But with a decent swing to the upside, that very well may be doable, particularly with the strength of the daily and weekly trends. Pound, very much same story now. Last week, or I'm not sure, was it the week before, I took this trade here on a video analysis, and it did extremely well, corrected and took me out ultimately, but for some decent pips. One was about 130 pips, I think, and the other was about 200. You can review it on a previous analysis, but it really rallied here. Now, it didn't alert as a trend trade, but you would have been able to get in on the action on a shorter time frame, which is what I do when the rules don't stack up on a particular time frame, like the 4 hour, that I generally like to park my pairs on. But you can always drill down to the 1 hour or the 15-minute. So I'll just have you can see here it came. Well, this was a beautiful swing. What do I like about the swing? It comes after quite a period of consolidation, and when it was alerted here, the stop was about 40 pips, just under the stop lot, under the grey moving average. That's a slow moving average, and in this case, it did extremely well, 200 pips to the upside, consolidating since. So you would have been able to catch it on the 1 hour. No doubt a move to the upside, and if you drill down even lower, say to the 15-minute, right over there, that's what I'm talking about. That was to be fair, that was a very not the best of trend trade setups because it was so flat. But if you hadn't taken that, then here you saw a really nice swing before this giant move. That's what dreams are made up of. Being able to get to the point where you're able to take trades like this, where the stop was only around 25 pips, maybe a little more, 25 to 30 pips, but it never went against it, and moved up about 170 pips. So it's always great to see trades go like that. So anyway, pound, it's still upward. 5 out of 6 high time frames are pointing up. I have no reason to think anything otherwise than looking for opportunities to the upside. But granted that it's so high, it would be prudent to look at corrections in the market, or wait for corrections in the marketplace, and then look for new swings to the upside. You can see the MACD, how high it is above that zero line. Euro pound, it has been continuing to fall. A couple of weeks back, I was talking about the flip between the euro pound and the pound Swiss, and that actually did occur and occurred in a big way. So, it is at fairly extreme level. So same thing applies here. Wait for an opportunity or a correction and an opportunity maybe to the downside again, unless conditions change to a bidirectional and it's looking strong for a possible recommencement of an upward move. You can see here, just moving to the daily chart. Wow, that tells a different story, doesn't it? Really big move to the upside, and it's pretty much collapsed on itself. It's on this consolidation level here, so that's another good reason to be wary of going short at this current time. I mean, the boat's already left the dock. So maybe a 4-hour correction and then a swing down when the MACD is closer to the zero line. You might do okay with it if the conditions continue. Euro pound is the same story, but the opposite. Wait for a correction to the downside, just like the pound. Sorry, this is the pound Swiss. So wait for a correction and then look for a swing up. Aussie, this is an interesting one, and the Aussie has been pushing fairly strongly to the upside. It's had this new alert that's just come out. It's not the strongest of trades, but on the positive, the stop is only 25, maybe 30 pips, and the reference point here, the recent high is about 100 pips. So that's 1 to 3, maybe 1 to 4 risk to return ratio. So that's what I always look for: small risk, big return in proportion to the risk. But it looks like it is struggling on this bar anyway currently. So let's have a look at the daily. Daily is continuing to go up. It's just not. It's been moving upward, but it's consolidated here. It's not the strongest of moves. Back here, sure, but now it seems like it may be in flux. I'm always a little nervous with the Aussie. So as far as the indicators go, it's currently pointing up, but you can see here on the MACD, it's so gentle, the slope. There's no real strength in it. So although it's 4 out of 6 pointing up, I wouldn't be surprised if it had a bit of a correction to the downside. Kiwi is stronger, but again, it's reaching those highs that it has. 6 out of 6 high time frames. It's what a difference. About a week and a half, it was under so much pressure. That's when it was in the middle of this downward daily trend. But it's since flipped over to a new trend trade to the upside. So there's plenty of scope here as well for the main high for any bulls that want to get in on the action. As far as I can see, though, it's already moved fairly high. So again, I'd be looking at some kind of correction before I would entertain that trade. Aussie Kiwis, a bit tough. On the 4-hour, it's pretty messy, and on the daily, you can see here that it was only going one direction for quite some time. So I guess it's pretty much what happens today concerning the MACD anyway, because it's just dipped to under the zero line. If it does, then that could be the first stage in over the next 2 days, a crossover occurring, the trend follower turning red and looking more distinctly to the downside. So if the Kiwi continues to be strong, then it would put the Aussie under pressure if the Kiwi is stronger than the Aussie. And that's another reason why the Aussie is maybe not going as strong as the Kiwi, because the Kiwi is going so strong, so it's putting that Aussie Kiwi under pressure, which has been going upward for quite some time. So it's a bit dicey for me on the sidelines on that one. Dollar CAD I've pretty much given up on. I mean, it's just going nowhere, and I don't see any strength. I'm not a fundamental trader, but looking at what's going on, it doesn't help for the strength of the US dollar currency, particularly with the dollar CAD. So I'm on the sidelines here as well. Dollar Swiss, that looks like it's doing a bit of a reversal already with this downward move. So if we look at it on the daily, we might get a better idea of what's going on. And this is really interesting because over the next day, we could have a crossover to the upside, trend follower changing green. It's very gentle, but it is after, it looks more gentle than it maybe is, because we had this big move, a little bit of a correction. Could it continue to go up? Well, if it changes to a daily upward, then that certainly gives more credit to the opportunity. If you wanted to get in on this trade, then um, it is a little dicey, but I would myself look at possibly a shorter time frame, and there ain't a trade there. Look how flat it is. But if I go to say the 15-minute, and there's nothing there. It's just too much of a coin toss right now. So it may be in the flux of moving upward, but I would want to see some stronger moves before getting involved. Dollar yen, on the other hand, has been going really well and has, it's not really showing any signs of slowing down either. Um, this is the daily chart. Now, let's have a look at this. Maybe it's too far out. Yeah. Okay, so if I change the settings, that would light up as an alert. But essentially, the crossover has occurred. There's a strong move. Trend follower is green. RSI is above the 50. MACD is looking pretty good. That's a pretty good takeoff. Not as nice as a super sharp one, but look at the price there. Look at the price action. So daily, it's moving upward. It's broken past highs, and there's a lot of room for this dollar yen to go around 300 pips to this high and this high, double high here, double top scenario. And on the weekly, you can see here that it hasn't been strongly going to the downside. And price now is the first indication that the downward trend may be finishing. So I've been pretty bullish on the dollar yen, and we've caught some decent trades on these yen crosses. They've been going pretty well. Actually, I know some members have caught some decent downward moves as well. So there's a lot of movement in the yen crosses quite often if the move is good. And now, maybe wait for a correction and then a swing to the upside, because as I mentioned the other day, it is kind of like a game of musical chairs, and you don't want to be the last person to buy when everyone else is bought, and then your chair gets pulled out from under you. So, this is the case now where the further it gets, the more risky it gets, and it might be primed for a correction now. If it does, then there could be a good opportunity over the next couple of days. Euro yen's also same situation. So I'll just run through these yen crosses because they're all very similar. You can see here both the euro yen, but particularly the pound yen. Geez, if anyone got this one still hanging on, then wow, that whole move has been roughly, around 850 pips. So congratulations. Aussie yen moving upward as well. Kiwi yen, they're all moving in the same direction. So, and all of them are pretty much stretched, at this stage. I don't see anything here, and that's just like it is with trading. You want to say no more times than you say yes, and sometimes there's quite a few trades in a short period of time, and other times it's better to go fishing. Okay, so Euro Aussie. This is a classic example. It just rocketed, and this is about 3 weeks ago, and I know some members did well, and I issued a trade on these sessions live. But look at this; it's just been a nightmare, and that's why you don't take trades like that. The setup is just so weak; it's just barely there. Technically, it's there, but and I'll continue to develop Trend Profiteer and make it smarter and better, and build in all of these new filters and algorithms. But it's always great if you can be supervising your system and have a good understanding of the system and how it works. And these trades are just nasty. Not trades that I'd be looking at. There's nothing there. So 4 out of 6 are pointing downward, but that's really more a case of how the market's just been going. You can see in the weekly, it's upward. It's still being supported. So a move up would be the way that I would be looking. If we look at the daily, we can see that it's flattened out after this big move a while back, but no trade, so no deal. Pound, Aussie, different story. Pound has just been so strong. It took a while to get going after the euro was really building strength. When it finally did, it just popped. So again, look at the MACD, look how high it is. Uh, just wait for a correction. That could be the best option. Wait for the MACD to come down close to the zero line. Wait for a swing. So it might come down to here. Again, you don't want to be stuck without a chair on a trading's version of musical chairs. Euro Kiwi, same deal, no deal there, just similar to the Euro Aussie. And the pound Kiwi, similar to the pound Aussie. It's been going great for anyone that's been going long on it on most of these trades. This one, for example, didn't quite work out. Probably would have got taken out. Well, you may have survived and locked in some profits, but yeah, well, here's one. I mean, this happens in trading. Look at it overall, but on the next bar, you may have been taken out because of the spike to the downside. And then if you're just automatically taking trades, then you're emailing us and saying how much it sucks and all of this and saying, you need to make discerning decisions when you trade, and you also need to understand that losses are part of the game, or part of the business, however you want to refer to it, part of trading. And these things happen. Sometimes you have wonderful trades that go fantastically, like a dream, and other times you have the opposite of a dream. But if you are consistent and you're discerning, then I have no doubt that many of you will do well. It's all about, just like anything in life, you have to really put in the effort. So with that, I will end today's video. Hope to see you in the chat room. As some of you know, we've been having some exciting things are happening. We've got a new software release coming out shortly, and I'm thinking of uploading that. It just doesn't have the install guides, and it's not quite fully prepared. I have unfortunately been pressed on other matters, particularly of security. It's a crazy world out there, and unfortunately, some people choose the not cool way. But anyway, thanks very much for watching, tuning in to this video. Till next time, good trading, live well, and I'll see you soon.